First contact. Dr. Samantha Chen peered into her electron microscope, her heart racing. After years of research, countless setbacks, and more than a few skeptical colleagues questioning her sanity, she was on the verge of a breakthrough that could change everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. Come on, she muttered, adjusting the focus ever so slightly. And there it was, a microscopic structure that shouldn't exist according to any known laws of physics. Samantha let out a triumphant whoop, startling her lab assistant. "We did it, Marcus. Look at this." She gestured excitedly for him to take a look. Marcus peered into the microscope, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Is that?" He trailed off, unable to put into words what he was seeing. Samantha nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "It's a micro-wormhole, stable, self-sustaining, and defying everything we thought we knew about quantum mechanics." As the implications of their discovery sank in, neither scientist noticed the faint shimmer in the air behind them, nor the curious eyes watching their every move. News of Dr. Chen's breakthrough spread like wildfire through the scientific community. Within days, she found herself thrust into the spotlight, fielding calls from prestigious universities, government agencies, and even a few dubious characters she suspected might be connected to less than legal operations. But it was the message that arrived exactly 1 week after her discovery that would change everything. Samantha was working late in her lab, as usual, when her computer screen suddenly went blank. Before she could even reach for her phone to call it support, strange symbols began scrolling across the screen. They shifted and rearranged themselves before her eyes, eventually forming words in perfect English. "Greetings, Dr. Samantha Chen. Your discovery has not gone unnoticed. We would like to meet." Samantha's first instinct was to assume this was an elaborate prank, probably orchestrated by her rival, Dr. Harrison, who had always been jealous of her work. But as she watched, a schematic appeared on the screen, one that perfectly matched the micro-wormhole she had discovered, but with notations and details she had never seen before. "This is impossible," she breathed, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. After a moment's hesitation, she typed, "Who are you?" The response came almost instantly. "We are the Zolthori. We have been waiting for humanity to reach this stage of scientific understanding. You are now ready for first contact." Samantha's mind reeled. First contact. Aliens. It was the dream of every SETI researcher, every stargazer, every science fiction fan. And somehow it was happening to her. How do I know this is real?" she typed, her hands shaking slightly. "Look behind you," came the reply. Slowly, Samantha turned. The air in the corner of her lab seemed to ripple and distort, like heat waves rising from hot asphalt. As she watched, slack-jawed, the distortion grew larger, forming a shimmering portal about 7 feet tall. And then something stepped through. The being that emerged was unlike anything Samantha had ever seen or imagined. It stood on 2 legs, but that's where any resemblance to a human ended. Its body seemed to shift and flow, as if made of liquid mercury. 3 eyes, arranged in a triangle, blinked at her from what she assumed was its face. When it spoke, she felt the words in her mind, rather than hearing them with her ears. "Greetings, Dr. Chen. We are honored to meet you." Samantha opened her mouth, but no words came out. She cleared her throat and tried again. I'm honored to meet you too. Are you really aliens?" "By your definition, yes. We prefer the term extrasolar beings. We have been observing your species for quite some time, waiting for the right moment to make contact. And my discovery, that was the trigger." The being's form rippled in what Samantha interpreted as a nod. "Your work on micro-wormholes has brought humanity to the precipice of a new era. We believe you are now ready to join the greater galactic community." As the initial shock wore off, Samantha's scientific curiosity took over. She peppered the being with questions about their technology, their society, their biology. The Zalthori answered patiently, explaining concepts that made Samantha's head spin with their complexity and implications. Hours passed like minutes. The sky outside her lab window began to lighten with the approaching dawn when the Zulfori finally said, "Dr. Chen, we have a proposal for you." Samantha, who had been scribbling notes furiously, looked up. "A proposal. We would like to invite you to our homeworld. There, you could continue your research with access to our advanced technology. You could be the ambassador for humanity, helping to forge a new era of cooperation between our species." Samantha's heart raced at the prospect. To see an alien world, to learn from an advanced civilization, it was beyond her wildest dreams. But doubt crept in. What about my life here? My work, my family? The Zulfori's form shimmered in what she had come to recognize as their equivalent of a sympathetic expression. "We understand this is a monumental decision. We do not ask for an immediate answer. Take time to consider. We will return in 3 of your Earth days for your response." With that, the shimmering portal reappeared, and the Zulfori stepped through, leaving Samantha alone in her lab with a head full of impossible knowledge and a decision that would shape the future of humanity. The next 3 days were a blur for Samantha. She debated telling others about her encounter, but feared being labeled as crazy or, worse, having some government agency swoop in and take over her research. Instead, she threw herself into analyzing every scrap of data she had gathered during her conversation with the Zulfori. On the evening of the 3rd day, Samantha sat in her lab, staring at the spot where the portal had appeared. Her mind raced through all the possibilities, all the potential consequences of her decision. If she said yes, she would be leaving behind everything she knew. Her family, her friends, her entire world. But the opportunity to learn, to see things no human had ever seen before, it was intoxicating. If she said no, would humanity lose its chance at joining the galactic community? Would another scientist be chosen, someone who might not have humanity's best interests at heart? As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the air began to shimmer once more. Samantha took a deep breath, straightened her lab coat, and made her decision. The portal opened, and the familiar mercurial form of the Zulfori stepped through. "Greetings, Dr. Chen. Have you reached a decision?" Samantha nodded, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I have. I accept your invitation. I will go to your world and serve as humanity's ambassador." The Zulfori's form rippled with what Samantha interpreted as pleasure. "We are gratified by your decision, Dr. Chen. Your courage and curiosity are commendable. Are you prepared to depart?" Samantha glanced at her desk, where a small duffel bag sat packed with essentials. "As ready as I'll ever be." As she stepped towards the portal, Samantha couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. She was about to become the first human to set foot on an alien world. Whatever lay on the other side of that shimmering gateway would change the course of human history forever. With one last look at her familiar lab, Dr. Samantha Chen took a deep breath and stepped into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges and wonders awaited her among the stars. Cultural exchange. As Samantha stepped through the shimmering portal, her senses were overwhelmed. A kaleidoscope of colors she had never seen before assaulted her eyes, and strange harmonies filled her ears. The air itself seemed to tingle against her skin, carrying scents both alien and oddly familiar. When her vision cleared, she found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast, domed chamber. The walls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, and floating platforms of various sizes drifted lazily through the air. Surrounding her were dozens of Zulfori, their mercurial bodies shimmering with excitement. "Welcome to Zulfor Prime, Dr. Chen." The familiar voice of her guide resonated in her mind. "You are the first human to set foot on our world." Samantha's scientific mind kicked into overdrive, trying to process everything she was seeing. "This is incredible. Your architecture, the way you've integrated organic and inorganic materials, it's beyond anything I could have imagined." A ripple of amusement passed through the assembled Zulfori. "We are pleased by your enthusiasm, Dr. Chen. But before we begin your education in our ways, there is someone who wishes to meet you." The crowd parted, and a new Zelthori floated forward. This one was larger than the others, its body swirling with complex patterns that seemed to hold hidden meanings. "Greetings, Samantha Chen of Earth. I am Zorax, the prime confluence of Zalthor. Your arrival marks a new era for both our peoples." Samantha bowed slightly, hoping it was an appropriate gesture. "The honor is mine, prime confluence. I'm eager to learn from your people and to share what I can of humanity." Zorax's body rippled in what Samantha was beginning to recognize as approval. "Your journey of discovery begins now. But be warned, Dr. Chen. Our ways may seem strange, even unsettling to you at times. Are you prepared to open your mind to truly alien concepts?" Samantha straightened her shoulders, a determined glint in her eye. "With all due respect, prime confluence, that's why I'm here. Bring on the alien concepts." A sound like chiming bells filled the air, and Samantha realized the Zolthori were laughing. Zorax's form shimmered with amusement. "Very well, Dr. Chen. Let your education begin." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of new experiences for Samantha. She was given her own living quarters, a space that seemed to breathe and shift to accommodate her needs. Her Zolthori guide, who she learned was called Venra, began teaching her about their society, technology, and biology. Samantha learned that the Zolthori were a collective consciousness, able to share thoughts and experiences across vast distances. Their fluid bodies allowed them to adapt to various environments and even merge temporarily with others of their kind to share knowledge directly. One day, as Samantha was struggling to understand a particularly complex piece of Zalthori technology, Venra made an unexpected offer. "Perhaps, Dr. Chen, it would be easier if I showed you directly." Before Samantha could ask what that meant, Venra's body began to flow towards her. Instinctively, she took a step back. "Do not be alarmed," Venra's thoughts echoed in her mind. "This is how we share complex information. I can form a temporary bond with your nervous system, allowing you to experience the knowledge firsthand." Samantha hesitated. The idea of merging with an alien being was both thrilling and terrifying. But her curiosity won out. "All right," she said, her voice only slightly shaky. "Let's do it." As Venra's mercurial form enveloped her hand, Samantha gasped. It felt like cool water, but alive and pulsing with energy. Suddenly, her mind exploded with information. She saw, felt, understood the intricate workings of Zalthori technology, the underlying principles that made their seemingly impossible feats a reality. When Venra pulled away, Samantha staggered, overwhelmed by the experience. "That was intense," she managed to say. Venra's form rippled with concern. "Was it too much? We can proceed more slowly if you prefer." Samantha shook her head, a grin spreading across her face. "No, it was amazing. I've learned more in the past few minutes than I could have in years of study. Can we do it again?" As the days passed, Samantha found herself adapting to life on Zalthor Prime. She eagerly absorbed everything the Zalthori taught her, from their advanced physics to their unique form of art that involved manipulating gravitational fields to create stunning, ever-changing sculptures. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Samantha often found herself struggling with concepts that seemed to defy her human understanding of the universe. And despite the Zolthori's welcoming nature, she couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider, the only solid being in a world of fluid forms. One evening, feeling particularly homesick, Samantha stood on a balcony overlooking the vast alien cityscape. The sky was alive with auroras, and 3 moons of varying sizes hung low on the horizon. "You seem troubled, Dr. Chen," came a familiar mental voice. Samantha turned to see Venra approaching. She sighed. It's a lot to take in. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice coming here. Don't get me wrong, everything I'm learning is incredible, but you miss your home," Venra finished for her. "It is understandable. We have asked much of you, to leave behind all that you knew." Samantha nodded, grateful for the empathy. I just wish there was a way to bridge the gap, to make me feel less alien here. Venra was silent for a moment, their forms swirling thoughtfully. Then, to Samantha's surprise, the Zulthori began to change shape. The mercurial body solidified, taking on a more humanoid form. Within moments, Samantha found herself looking at a being that, while still clearly alien, had recognizable features: 2 arms, 2 legs, a head with 2 eyes. Is this more comfortable for you? Venera asked, their mental voice tinged with uncertainty. Samantha was touched by the gesture. You didn't have to do that, she said softly. But I wanted to, Venera replied. You have shown great courage in coming here, in opening yourself to our ways. It is only fair that we make an effort to understand and accommodate you as well. As they stood there, gazing out at the alien yet beautiful landscape, Samantha felt a warmth in her chest that had nothing to do with Zulthor's 3 sons. For the first time since arriving, she felt truly accepted. Thank you, Venera, she said, impulsively reaching out to take the Zulthori's now solid hand. This means more to me than you know. As their hands touched, Samantha felt a spark of connection, different from the information sharing they had done before. This was something deeper, more personal. She looked up into Venera's eyes, seeing a depth of emotion she hadn't realized the Zulthori were capable of. In that moment, on a balcony under alien stars, the first seeds of an unprecedented relationship were sown. Neither Samantha nor Venera could have predicted where this connection would lead, or the shockwaves it would send through both their societies. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Samantha found herself growing more comfortable on Zulthor Prime. Her days were filled with groundbreaking research, her nights with long conversations with Venera about the nature of their respective species and the vast universe they inhabited. But even as she immersed herself in Zulthori culture, Samantha never forgot her role as humanity's ambassador. She worked tirelessly to compile reports on everything she was learning, preparing for the day when she would return to Earth and help usher in a new era of interstellar cooperation. Little did she know that her personal connection with Venera was about to complicate her mission in ways she could never have imagined, setting the stage for a revelation that would challenge the foundations of both human and Zulthori society. As the twin sons of Zulthor Prime set on another day of discovery, Samantha and Venera stood together on their favorite balcony, their hands intertwined. The future stretched out before them, full of possibility and fraught with challenges. But for now, in this moment, they were content to simply be 2 beings from different worlds, finding common ground among the stars. Interspecies relationship. The laboratory hummed with energy as Samantha peered into a holographic display, her brow furrowed in concentration. Streams of data flowed around her, a testament to months of groundbreaking research. Eureka! She exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. Venera, look at this. The Zulthori, still maintaining their humanoid form, glided over. What have you discovered, Samantha? I think I've cracked it. A way to stabilize macro wormholes using a combination of Earth quantum theory and Zulthori gravitational manipulation. Her hands danced through the hologram, rearranging equations. This could revolutionize interstellar travel for both our species. Venera's form shimmered with excitement. Extraordinary. Your unique perspective has yielded insights even our most advanced scientists missed. Samantha beamed, feeling a rush of pride, but as she turned to face Venera, she was struck by the intensity in their eyes. The air between them seemed to crackle with an unspoken energy. Samantha, Venera began, their mental voice uncharacteristically hesitant. There is something I must confess. Heart racing, Samantha nodded for them to continue. In all my cycles of existence, I have never encountered a being quite like you. Your curiosity, your adaptability, your humanity. It fascinates and attracts me in ways I cannot fully comprehend. Samantha's breath caught in her throat. Venera, I've been feeling something too. Something I never expected when I came here. As if drawn by an invisible force, they moved closer. Samantha reached out, her hand caressing Venra's shimmering cheek. The touch sent a jolt of electricity through them both. "Is this possible?" Samantha whispered. Instead of answering, Venra leaned in. Their lips met in a kiss that defied the laws of both their worlds. It was soft yet electrifying, alien yet achingly familiar. As they embraced, Venra's form began to glow, tendrils of light enveloping them both. When they finally parted, Samantha felt changed on a fundamental level. She looked at her hands, seeing faint traces of Zolfori bioluminescence dancing beneath her skin. "What just happened?" she asked, breathless. Venra's mental voice was filled with awe. "We have formed a bond, deeper than any I have known. Our energies have begun to merge." Before they could discuss the implications of this unprecedented union, an alarm blared through the lab. The holographic display flickered, replaced by the stern visage of Zorax, the prime confluence. "Dr. Chen Venra, your presence is required immediately in the Grand Conclave chamber." As they hurried through the shifting corridors of the Zolfori citadel, Samantha's mind raced. Had their relationship been discovered? Would she be sent back to Earth in disgrace? The Grand Conclave chamber was a vast spherical space, its walls alive with swirling patterns of light. Hundreds of Zolfori were gathered, their forms undulating with what Samantha recognized as agitation. Zorax's imposing form dominated the center of the chamber. Dr. Chen Venra stepped forward. As they approached, a hush fell over the assembled Zolfori. "It has come to our attention," Zorax began, their mental voice reverberating through the chamber, "that you have engaged in an unprecedented form of bonding." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. She opened her mouth to speak, but Zorax continued. "Such a union between our species was thought impossible. The potential consequences are concerning." Venra moved protectively closer to Samantha. "With respect, Prime Confluence, our bond has already yielded incredible scientific breakthroughs. Surely you can see the potential benefits." Murmurs rippled through the gathered Zolfori. Samantha squared her shoulders, finding her voice. "I came here as an ambassador for humanity to foster understanding between our species. What better way to bridge our differences than through love?" The word hung in the air, charged with meaning. Samantha realized it was the first time either of them had used it to describe their relationship. Zorax's form swirled thoughtfully. "Your argument has merit, Dr. Chen. However, this situation extends beyond mere politics or science. The physiological implications of your bond are unprecedented." A new holographic display materialized, showing detailed scans of both Samantha and Venra. Samantha gasped as she saw the changes in her own biology, traces of Zolfori energy intertwined with her human DNA. "As you can see," Zorax continued, "your bonding has initiated a transformation in you both. The full extent of these changes is yet unknown." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of mental voices, some expressing fascination, others fear. Samantha felt overwhelmed, her newfound connection to Venra amplifying the emotional surge. Suddenly, a new voice cut through the chaos. "Enough." All eyes turned to see an ancient Zolfori floating forward, their forms shimmering with wisdom accumulated over millennia. "I am Sela, keeper of the ancient prophecies," the elder announced, "and I believe this union was foretold eons ago." A hush fell over the chamber as Sela began to recite. "When stars align and worlds collide, two forms, once separate, shall reside. In union blessed by cosmic grace, a bridge 'tween time and empty space. From their bond, a child shall rise, with power to open starry skies. This hybrid born of love so true shall forge a path for old and new." As the last words faded, Samantha felt a strange sensation in her abdomen. She locked eyes with Venra, seeing her own shock mirrored in their gaze. "Impossible," Zorax breathed. But Samantha knew, with a certainty that defied explanation, that the impossible had already happened. Her hand moved to her stomach, feeling the first fluttering of new life, A life that shouldn't exist, yet somehow did. "I'm where," she stammered. Venra completed her thought, their mental voice filled with wonder. "We're going to have a child." The grand conclave chamber erupted in chaos. Some Zalthori recoiled in fear, others pressed closer in fascination. Zorax called for order, their form pulsating with barely contained emotion. As the implications of this unprecedented pregnancy sank in, Samantha realized that her role as an ambassador had just become infinitely more complex. She was no longer just a bridge between two species. She was about to become the mother of a being that could reshape the very fabric of the universe. Venra enveloped her in a protective embrace, their forms shimmering with a mix of joy and apprehension. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As the twin suns of Zalthor Prime set on this momentous day, casting the citadel in an ethereal glow, Samantha and Venera stood united, their improbable love about to bring forth a child of two worlds, a cosmic bridge that would forever alter the course of both human and Zalthori history. Cosmic convergence. The news of Samantha's unprecedented pregnancy spread through the galaxy like a supernova, igniting fierce debates and wild speculation. On Earth, governments scrambled to formulate responses, religious leaders sought divine explanations, and scientists clamored for data. The Zalthori homeworld buzzed with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, their collective consciousness rippling with the implications of this cosmic event. Samantha found herself at the eye of this interstellar storm, her body undergoing changes that defied both human and Zalthori understanding. Her skin now shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, pulsing in rhythm with the life growing within her. Venra rarely left her side, their form constantly shifting between humanoid and fluid states, as if mirroring the flux of their unborn child. "How are you feeling today, my starlight?" Venra asked, their mental voice tinged with concern. Samantha smiled, placing a hand on her swollen belly. "Like I'm carrying a miniature galaxy, every kick feels like a supernova." As if on cue, a visible ripple of energy coursed across her abdomen, causing nearby Zalthori medical instruments to fluctuate wildly. Dr. Zalin, the lead xenobiologist assigned to Samantha's case, floated into the room, their forms swirling with excitement. "Fascinating. The fetus appears to be manipulating quantum fields even in utero. Its power is growing exponentially." Samantha exchanged a worried glance with Venra. "Is that safe for the baby and for others?" Before Dr. Zalin could respond, a familiar shimmering portal appeared in the center of the room. Zorax, the prime confluence, stepped through, accompanied by a figure that made Samantha's jaw drop. "Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson," she gasped. The renowned astrophysicist grinned, looking only slightly disoriented from his interdimensional journey. "Dr. Chen, it's an honor to meet you." When the Zalthori reached out to Earth for a scientific liaison, well, how could I resist? Zorax's form rippled with what Samantha had learned to recognize as amusement. "We thought it prudent to involve human experts in this unprecedented event. Dr. Tyson's unique ability to communicate complex cosmic concepts to the masses made him an ideal candidate." As Neil approached, his eyes widened at the sight of Samantha's bioluminescent skin and the energy emanating from her womb. "Great Cosmos," he breathed. "You're not just carrying a child, you're incubating a living bridge between dimensions." Over the next few hours, the room buzzed with activity as human and Zalthori scientists collaborated, their minds racing to comprehend the miracle unfolding before them. Samantha watched in awe as Neil and Dr. Zalin engaged in a rapid-fire exchange of ideas, their theories growing more mind-bending by the minute. "If our calculations are correct," Neil explained, gesturing to a holographic model of the baby, "this child will be able to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe at will. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, they'll be like clay in its hands." Dr. Zalin's form pulsed with excitement. "Indeed, and look at these neural patterns. They suggest a level of cosmic awareness that transcends both our species' understanding of consciousness." As fascinating as the scientific implications were, Samantha couldn't help but feel a twinge of fear. But what does this mean for our baby? Will they be able to live a normal life? Venra enveloped her in a comforting embrace, their form cool and soothing against her flushed skin. Our child will forge their own path, my love. Normal was never an option. Suddenly, Samantha doubled over, a wave of pain coursing through her body. The room erupted into chaos as medical teams rushed to her aid. "It's too early," Dr. Zalin exclaimed, their form rippling with concern. But Samantha knew, with a certainty that transcended rational thought, that the time had come. As another contraction hit, the laws of physics seemed to warp around her. Gravity fluctuated wildly, causing everyone and everything in the room to float momentarily before crashing back down. "Everybody stay calm," Neil shouted, somehow maintaining his composure. "We're witnessing the birth of a cosmic event." Venera cradled Samantha, their form shifting to create a protective cocoon around her. Samantha screamed as a blast of pure energy erupted from her body, momentarily blinding everyone in the room. When the light faded, a profound silence fell. Floating in the air before them was a being of pure radiance. It had a vaguely humanoid shape, but its form shifted constantly, as if trying to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Stars seemed to swirl in its eyes, and galaxies spiraled across its skin. "By all the laws of physics," Neil whispered, his voice filled with awe. The infant, if it could be called that, turned its cosmic gaze upon Samantha and Venera. In that moment, they felt a love so profound it transcended the boundaries of space and time. Telepathically, they heard their child's first thoughts. "Hello, Mother. Hello, Father. I am the cosmic convergence, the bridge between worlds, and I have so much to show you." As the newborn cosmic entity floated gently into Samantha's arms, the very fabric of reality seemed to shift. In that moment, everyone present knew that the universe would never be the same. Zoax, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, finally spoke. "The prophecy is fulfilled. A new era dawns for all sentient beings." Neil, his scientific mind racing to process what he had just witnessed, turned to the assembled group with a grin. "Well, folks, I think we're going to need to rewrite every physics textbook in the galaxy. Any volunteers to help explain this to the Nobel Committee?" As laughter rippled through the room, Samantha and Venera remained lost in their child's celestial gaze, marveling at the cosmic miracle they had created. Their journey had only just begun, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in anticipation of what was to come. Little did they know that their child's birth was just the beginning. The cosmic convergence would soon face challenges that would test the very limits of its incredible powers, and the bond between this unprecedented family would be the key to the survival of not just their two species, but the entire multiverse. As news of the miraculous birth spread across galaxies, beings from countless worlds turned their attention to this small family. The stage was set for an adventure that would span dimensions, challenge the fundamental laws of reality, and redefine the very concept of what it means to be alive in this vast, wondrous universe. Guardians of the multiverse. The cosmic nursery pulsed with ethereal energy, its walls shimmering with constellations from 1,000 different realities. In the center, cradled in a field of pure starlight, floated the cosmic convergence, the child of two worlds, now a toddler by human reckoning, but with the power to reshape galaxies at will. Samantha watched in awe as her child, whom they had taken to calling Nova, effortlessly manipulated miniature black holes like toys. Venera's fluid form rippled with pride beside her. "Our little supernova is growing stronger every day," Venera's thoughts resonated in Samantha's mind. Before Samantha could respond, alarms blared throughout the Zulthori citadel. The walls of the nursery flickered, revealing a horrifying sight. A massive interdimensional rift tearing through space-time, with eldritch horrors pouring through. Zorax's panicked voice echoed through their mental link. "The Void Devourers have found us. They seek the cosmic child." Nova's eyes, swirling with nebulae, widened in fear. In that instant, Samantha's maternal instincts overrode her scientific mind. She scooped up her child, feeling the raw power thrumming through Nova's being. "We need to get out of here," she shouted to Venra. But escape seemed impossible. The rift was expanding, reality itself buckling under the assault of the nightmarish entities. Just as all hope seemed lost, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Fear not, for science shall light our way." Neil deGrasse Tyson burst into the room, wielding what appeared to be a cobbled-together quantum disruptor. Behind him strode a diverse group of beings from across the cosmos. "I've assembled a team," Neil explained hurriedly. "Meet the Guardians of the Multiverse." A reptilian being with fractal scales stepped forward, introducing herself as Kruth's master of probability manipulation. Beside her floated Quark, a sentient cloud of subatomic particles with unparalleled knowledge of quantum mechanics. A humanoid robot named Helix worked to life, its circuits glowing with artificial superintelligence. "Fascinating," Samantha exclaimed, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding her fear. "But how can we possibly stand against those things?" Neil's eyes twinkled with that familiar mix of wonder and determination. "With the power of knowledge, teamwork, and a little cosmic improvisation." As the Void Devourers clawed their way closer, reality fraying at the edges, Nova's eyes began to glow with an intense light. The child reached out, tiny hands grasping at the fabric of space-time itself. "I think Nova's trying to tell us something," Venra observed, their form shifting anxiously. Samantha focused, using her newfound connection to her child to understand. In a flash of insight, she gasped, "Nova wants to close the rift, but needs our help to do it." What followed was a symphony of cosmic proportions. Kruth wove intricate patterns of probability, creating a stable framework for Nova's power. Quark merged with the quantum foam of reality, providing a conduit for the massive energies at play. Helix AI processed billions of calculations per second, predicting and counteracting the Void Devourer's moves. Neil and Samantha worked in perfect unison, their scientific minds pushing the boundaries of theoretical physics. Vendra's fluid form became a living shield, protecting Nova from the chaotic energies swirling around them. At the heart of it all, Nova's small hands moved with purpose, orchestrating forces beyond mortal comprehension. Stars were born and died in microseconds, galaxies spiraled in and out of existence, and the very constants of the universe fluctuated wildly. With a final, reality-shaking pulse, the rift began to close. The Void Devourers shrieked in otherworldly fury as they were sucked back into the nothingness from whence they came. As the last of the eldritch horrors vanished, Nova collapsed into Samantha's arms, exhausted but triumphant. Silence fell over the battered citadel, broken only by the soft hum of settling cosmic energies. Then, slowly, shears erupted from every corner of the vast structure. Zelthori, humans, and beings from 100 different worlds celebrated their narrow escape from annihilation. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Samantha looked down at her child with a mix of awe and trepidation. "What have we created, Venra? The power Nova wields. It's almost godlike." Venra's form shimmered thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is precisely why our child came to be. Not as a weapon, but as a protector, a cosmic immune system against threats to the very fabric of reality." Neil approached, his hair singed, but his eyes bright with excitement. "I hate to interrupt this touching family moment, but we've got a multiverse to safeguard, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our adventures." As if in response, Nova's tiny hand reached out, creating a shimmering portal that showed glimpses of countless realities, some wondrous, others terrifying, all in need of protection. Samantha took a deep breath, feeling the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders. She looked at Venra, then at their assembled team of unlikely heroes. With a determined nod, she stepped towards the portal, Nova cradled safely in her arms. "Well then, Guardians of the Multiverse," she said, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. Let's go save reality. As they stepped through the portal into the unknown, Samantha couldn't help but marvel at the twisted path that had led her here. From a curious scientist on Earth to the mother of a cosmic entity, guardian of the multiverse, and part of the most diverse and extraordinary family in existence. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever mind-bending wonders or reality-warping horrors they might face, Samantha knew one thing for certain: their love, human, Zalthori, and cosmic, would light the way through the darkest corners of creation. And so, the cosmic convergence and its guardians set forth on an eternal quest, their adventures limited only by the boundaries of imagination itself. For in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, their story was only just beginning.